The Russian economic engine is showing clear signs of exhaustion, a reality the Kremlin is beginning to acknowledge. The military-driven boom of 2023 and 2024 is now in the past. Let's break it down. Russia's economy. The economy of Russia is an emerging and developing high-income, industrialized, mixed market-oriented economy. It has the 11th largest economy in the world by nominal GDP due to a volatile currency exchange rate. Its GDP measured in nominal terms fluctuates sharply. Russia was the last major economy to join the World Trade Organization, WTO, becoming a member in 2012. Russia has large amounts of energy resources throughout its vast landmass, particularly natural gas and petroleum, which play a crucial role in its energy self-sufficiency and exports. The large oil and gas sector accounted up to 30% of Russia's federal budget revenues in 2024, down from 50% in the mid-2010s, suggesting economic diversification. As of late 2024, the country's population stands at 146.08 million. The nominal GDP is projected to decrease to 2.08 trillion in 2025, 11th globally, while GDP based on purchasing power parity, PPP, will increase to $7.19 trillion, 4th globally. GDP growth was strong in 2023 and 2024 at 4.1%, but is expected to fall by 1.5% in 2025, with a slight recovery of 0.9% in 2026. Nominal GDP per capita is set to drop to 14,260, 67th, while PPP per capita rises to 49,380, 43rd. The economy is driven largely by services, 67.8%, followed by industry, 26.6%, and agriculture, 5.6%. Inflation rose from 5.9% in 2023 to 7.9% in 2024, but is expected to return to 5.9% in 2025. The poverty rate dropped to 11% in 2021, while the Gini index rose slightly to 35.1, indicating moderate inequality. The Human Development Index reached 0.821 in 2022, 52nd globally, while a secondary HDI measure ranks it 43rd. Corruption remains a concern, with a low score of 26,100 in 2023, ranked 141st. The labor force declined to 73.18 million in 2023, with a 60.8% employment rate and a low unemployment rate of 2.6% in April 2024. Average gross monthly salary is Rub $91,000, 1,019, while net salary is Rub 78,590, 880. Employment is concentrated in services, 63%, industry, 27.6%, and agriculture, 9.4%. Key industries include oil, gas, mining, defense, aerospace, machinery, electronics, shipbuilding, agriculture, and consumer goods, reflecting a broad and resource-rich industrial base. Historically, the Russian economy has been volatile over the past multiple decades. After 1989, its institutional environment was transformed from a command economy based upon socialist organizations to a capitalistic system. Its industrial structure dramatically shifted away over the course of several years from heavy investment in manufacturing as well as in traditional Soviet agriculture towards free market-related developments in natural gas and oil extraction, in addition to businesses engaged in mining. A service economy also expanded during this time. The academic analyst Richard Connolly has argued that, over the last 4 centuries in a broad sense, there were 4 main characteristics of the Russian economy that have shaped the system and persisted despite the political upheavals. First of all, the weakness of the legal system means that impartial courts do not rule and contracts are problematic. Second is the underdevelopment of modern economic activities, with very basic peasant agriculture dominant into the 1930s. Third is technological underdevelopment, eased somewhat by borrowing from the West in the 1920s, and fourth, lower living standards compared to Western Europe and North America. 40 months of war with Ukraine. 40 months is a long time in a war, even more so for an economy already burdened by dangerous dependencies on a fossil fuel-based world that, with luck, will be consigned to the history books within a few decades. Nearly 3.5 years after Vladimir Putin gave the order to invade Ukraine, thus burning all bridges with the West, Russia is now trapped in a maze with no easy way out, sluggish growth and soaring prices, with annual increases in the double digits. The economic impact of the Russian invasion of Ukraine began in late February 2022, In the days after Russia recognized two breakaway Ukrainian republics and launched an invasion of Ukraine, the subsequent economic sanctions have targeted large parts of the Russian economy, Russian oligarchs, and members of the Russian government. Russia responded in kind. A wave of protests and strikes occurred across Europe against the rising cost of living. The war in Ukraine has also resulted in significant loss of human capital, destruction of agricultural trading infrastructure, huge damage to production capacity, including through the loss of electricity, and a reduction in private consumption of more than a third relative to pre-war levels. The St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, once a showcase and symbol of Russia's strength in the global market, turned a couple of weeks ago into a parade of Putinism, though not a particularly cheerful one. We are on the brink of a recession, admitted Economics Development Minister Maxim Reshetnikov. The reserves that had supported the country's finances in recent years, added Central Bank Governor Elvira Nabiullina, are depleted. Little remains of the Russia of late 2021, when verbal clashes with Kyiv were intensifying, but very few suspected the step Putin was about to take. Today, in July 2025, the Russian central bank finds itself in a paradoxical crossroads, waging a double battle against inflation and against the Kremlin itself. Something like dancing a waltz on a barrel of dynamite. It's been less than 3 weeks since the central bank, supposedly independent from government control, symbolically lowered interest rates from 21% to 20%. In doing so, it fulfilled a long-standing demand from the Kremlin. It was the first rate cut since September 2022, the year of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This marked a break from a long cycle of interest rate hikes aimed at curbing rising prices. The contradiction facing the central bank is a true reflection of the current state of the Russian economy, which has long dropped out of the world's top 10 in terms of size. By now, even the Kremlin is beginning to acknowledge the obvious, that the economic boom driven by the war industry is coming to an end, and that the savings made before the war are no longer enough. Still, Russian propaganda continues to claim that the country is doing better than the European Union, its continental nemesis. The unemployment rate it boasts is minimal, just over 2%. Russia's National Statistics Office, Rosstat, highlights that the average monthly wage has, for the first time, surpassed the 100,000 ruble mark, about 1,300, a 40% increase compared to 2022. Inflation. As a result of the extraordinary growth in the budget between 2021 and 2025, it increased by 3.79 times, or by 10.1 trillion rubles. Inflation has soared, forcing the Bank of Russia to maintain the key rate at 21%. While this did not dampen consumer prices on the contrary, annual inflation hit 10.34% in April. But it caused an effective cooling of economic activity as industrial production slowed down to 1.1% in Q1 2025 from 4.6% for 2024. Combined with the decline in global oil prices, all this caused a serious contraction of budget revenues by the end of Q1 2025 that forced the Finance Ministry to revise its forecasts for the entire year, elevating the planned federal budget deficit from 0.5 to more than 1.7% of GDP, or 3.8 trillion rubles. Meanwhile, the economy in general continued its moderate expansion, fueled by the rise in output in the military-industrial sector. Overall, Russia's economy is clearly slowing down. The war boom that helped it grow in 2023 and 2024 is now fading, and cracks are starting to show. Prices keep rising, growth is losing steam, and the money reserves built up before the war are nearly gone. While the government claims things are fine with low jobless numbers and higher wages, millions of Russians are deep in debt, often borrowing more just to pay off old loans. Key industries like agriculture, coal, and construction are struggling, while the central bank is caught between fighting inflation and following Kremlin orders. Experts say this slow breakdown looks a lot like the final years of the Soviet Union or Germany during World War I, where things fall apart gradually, not all at once. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more updated about the affairs all around the world.